So we had the return of Drew McIntyre after a full long week of him being kayfabe suspended. He comes back here and he joins the Vision as far as the War Games match, and he aligns with the Vision, Logan Paul, Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker, and Paul Heyman. This obviously was I think you can kind of see this was coming from a mile away ever since Cody came out on Raw and joined that side of the babyface team. You kind of had to wonder that Drew McIntyre was eventually going to make his return. I think eventually down the road, maybe this coming Monday night, you're going to see the return of Brock Lesnar to join the Vision to even out the 5-on-5 dynamic. And you may also see the return of the OTC Roman Reigns. They were chanting his name here tonight. They wanted him to come out here tonight. But I actually predict that he's going to come out on a bigger stage, that being the Madison Square Garden show that they have for Monday Night Raw. The babyface side, as it looks right now, is Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, Jey Uso, and Jimmy Uso, because tonight there was a backstage segment in the back in which Jimmy Uso essentially told Cody that he's on the War Games team. He spoke to Punk and that this is official. Who knows if Jimmy is actually going to be, I guess, if Jimmy doesn't have an unfortunate accident from here until Survivor Series, if that's what they want to do, potentially slide in somebody like John Cena, or if it's literally just going to be the Usos, Cody, Punk, and Roman. Like that might be the direction that they're going in. I think it's kind of as predictable can be. The War Games, the whole War Games concept is really kind of just forced at this point. I don't care whether you're looking at it as far as the women's side or as far as the men's side. I think this year has probably been the least impactful War Games that we've had. And my opinion kind of stands on that, because I don't really feel like we need a War Games match every single year. I don't think it's necessary. It runs the risk of becoming, quite frankly, Hell in a Cell 2.0. And I mentioned the women's War Games match. They also started to implement some tension between Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley, because Monday night it seemed like everybody was on the same page against the heels. But now here on SmackDown, there seems to be tensions between Charlotte and Rhea, because Charlotte remembers, I guess Rhea, she called her a snake, she called her Two-Face, she doesn't trust her. This, that, and the third. I think that they just added this in. That way it adds some sort of drama to the whole match here, because if it's just baby faces against heels, sure, that's whatever, that's fine, but it's not gonna, I guess, have that juicy implement of drama. Again, I don't really care, because I know Charlotte is just gonna come out at the end of this whole story between her and Rhea and end up being okay. Like, I think even a year ago, 2 years ago, they did the whole same sort of story with Charlotte and Becky, if I'm not mistaken. I think they ran the whole can they coexist angle here between both women, and I think that's kind of what they're doing here with Rhea and Charlotte. I mentioned some new matches here being announced for the Last Time Is Now tournament. That is Penta against Finn Balor and Carmelo Hayes against Bronson Reed. I heard this mentioned before, and I think I'm going to reiterate it here. I think the Last Time Is Now retirement tournament thing, I think the matches that we've gotten thus far announced really just don't seem to live up to expectations. I think we're all expecting a major surprise like a Jeff Hardy or somebody along those lines to come out, and instead what you get is Penta against Finn Balor. And that's not bad or anything, but it's just, it kind of seems underwhelming is what I'm trying to get here. As far as those matches concerned, I possibly see Finn Balor getting the win there, and Carmelo Hayes possibly getting a win, if only if somebody like Cody comes back and gets his revenge for tonight against Bronson Reed. We also had Jey Uso defeat The Miz here in the opening. I don't think there was a single person who didn't think that Jey Uso was going to get the win here. I hope that Jey Uso doesn't go as far as what I think a lot of people are fearing. That is potentially Jey Uso against Cena, TKO's wet dream. And last but not least, I wanted to mention this. We had the return of Zack Ryder, aka Matt Cardona. He was the mystery opponent here for LA Knight. I legitimately thought that whoever was the mystery opponent here against LA Knight was going to get the win here, because poor LA Knight, man, he gets his promo cut off. He can't even get in the War Games match. I mean, this guy, he seems to be on the losing end of most things here in this company. So I just figured this was going to be another loss for LA Knight. But to my surprise, he actually got the win here against Matt Cardona or Zack Ryder. I'm not super high on Zack Ryder. I don't really know much about his indie run. I will say one thing though, as much as I may not be the biggest fan of his music is definitely something that I actually grow to love. I think it's one of the better songs out there, and I don't know really what they're doing as far as if this was just a one-off, if this was the beginning of something new for him, possibly on SmackDown, because SmackDown needs some new stars, man. SmackDown needs some new names, some new faces, especially with the rumors being that SmackDown is going to go back to 3 hours starting January 2nd, which is possibly the worst move in company history, because goddamn, I don't think you need 3 hours for a wrestling show, period, let alone SmackDown. So that's going to be a fucking chore to sit through. But post your comments down below. Let me know what you thought of tonight's episode of SmackDown. And until next time, I will see all of you on the next one.